What is up, my wacky horn dogs? Today we are going to be expanding upon our reactor here by making ourselves a turbine. Now what a turbine does is it allows us to change our reactor. Right now it is in passive mode, but we can change that to active mode and it'll start pumping steam out into a turbine, which should theoretically generate more power for us, which I'm hoping. I'm hoping it'll generate a lot more power for us. We need a lot more power. I have big plans. Big plans. Now to get started, we are going to need all of these items over here on the left. And I am going to go ahead and make some patterns for those. I'll be right back. Alright, so to get started making this turbine, we're actually going to need a couple things. One, we're going to need cyanide, which is a byproduct of the uranium running through the reactor. So we have that already. We've got plenty of that. But we're also going to need this stuff called plutonium. And that is made by using one of these cyanide reprocessors right here. Already got a little space made for it, and it needs power. Sorry, I put power there. So you put that right there. You connect export and import right there. Export some cyanide. Right there we go. And it's also going to need water. So what I've done is I have gotten a universal water tank that we can use. Get that making, and it's going to make us some plutonium, which you don't need that much, but it's nice to have. You're not really using the cyanide for anything else either. Now, typically I do this next part off camera, but I've gotten some complaints about doing it off camera. So you're going to have to sit through me digging out an entire 17 by 17 hole in the wall, just like this one. Alright guys, so we got it all dug out. We ran into a little bit of a problem. I didn't dig as deep as I thought I did into the ground. So we're gonna have a little bit of our turbine sticking out, which isn't too big of a deal. It might actually look pretty cool being able to see through it and everything. So yeah, let's get this thing all made and stuff. Alright guys, so I got ourselves a nice little turbine casing, basically is what it is. Built right now. The backside looks a little funky because of the outside area. I wanted to be able to see inside of it from the outside, but so if we got this casing built, we are going to need a couple things now. First we need to find the center, which is about right here, it looks like. Get right here, fly all the way up. Very nice. I done goofed. Just remembered I have night vision goggles. There we go. Dead center. All right, and on these, we are going to be putting our rotor bearings, our turbine rotor bearings. Get those and put one right there and one right up here. There we go. On each end of the rotor blades, of the rotor shaft, I should say. The next is our turbine rotor shaft. Turbine rotor shaft, let's make 16. There we go. I was one off. And while at it, we'll also make our turbine rotor blades. Let's make just a stack of those. There you go. And just, oh, do I have to, oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a lot of those. Let's get like, yeah, 4 stacks. Should be enough. Should be plenty. Actually, you know what? 4 more stacks. I'm gonna just make this thing as big as possible. Look at that. That's a scary turbine. We're actually gonna need to get rid of the very bottom layer, because we're going to put our coils right there. And I'll explain what the coils are in just a second. So now that we have this placed here, we are going to need some coils, which the coil is, let me pull it up. It is the blocks underneath it that conduct the electricity. And we are going to be using unobtainium because we have plenty of it. Let's start placing our coil down. So it's going to go 1 block wide all the way around, just like this. You can have multiple different blocks as the coil, but unobtainium is the best block to have. And just like our reactor, we're going to have a power tap so that the turbine can put out power. We're going to need this reactor coolant port, which will turn our reactor into an active reactor, allowing us to use the turbine. And finally, we're going to need some turbine fluid ports. Get 2 of those to pump steam in and pump water out. Perfect. 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 So let's get our power tap right there. Gonna put our 2 fluid ports right here. Gonna seal this bad boy up. Look at that. And let's close the turbine. Whoa. All right, and now we're going to go over here and we're going to take that out and put in our coolant port, just like that. We're actually going to need 2 of these. Oh, no, actually, no. Need 1. We need 2 of them. Craft 1 more of these bad boys. 1 to go in and 1 to go out. And now if you haven't made this by now, it's called a personal shrinking device. It allows you to shrink down to 1 block tall. And it's super useful for getting into very small spaces. Let's get ourselves a water tank. Or an ender tank, I should say, for water. Get rid of that. And just place it right on down on top of it. There we go, just like that. And there it's going to be pumping stuff out. Now we're going to need to come over here. Now this will be pumping water back into our system. Wait a minute. I have it backwards. And this will be pumping water out. All right, and now let's give it a little old test. So now you see here we have 2 new things. What are they called? Meters. We have 2 new meters in our HUD. We have a tank meter and we have a steam meter. This is the steam being pushed out into the turbine, and this is the water being taken in, which is not a lot. Let's turn this bad boy on. This isn't working. Why isn't it working? We forgot to build the turbine terminal. That's why. There we go. Now it's a turbine. Online. Look at that thing go. How much power are we producing? 28,000 RF a tick. Oh, it's getting up there. It's starting to spin. Now, this is going to take some toying with to get it just right, but you're going to want, for maximum power output, you're going to want about 1800 RPM. We're building up to that, but currently we're sitting at 400 RPM, which is not the best for power output. The best you want to keep is constant 1800 RPM. Look at that thing go. The texture's a little weird. I can see outside. Look at that. Is that a cloud? Yeah, it's a cloud. All right, guys. So I've been toying with the settings on my turbine, and I found the exact number, the exact rotations per minute to maximize my energy. So what I've been doing, what I did is I decreased this flow rate governor to about 18.5, 18.5 buckets per tick, which I'm producing about 32 buckets per tick from my reactor. So I've got a good backup of steam in case something goes wrong. You want to keep the turbine around 1800 rotations per minute to maximize your power. And I found the exact amount of power that my turbine will produce. If I go any over this number of rotations, it'll start producing less than this. And I'm producing 561,000 RF per tick, which is not bad, but I think it's a little bit worse than my reactor. So I might change it back. I'm not sure. I don't really need this much power. It's just something to do. It's pretty fun. And look at this thing. This thing's spinning. I love this thing. Got some graphical errors in it. I can see outside through it, but look at that. I'm pretty happy with it. And anyways, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please do all the things. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.